recently Sana Mir and just before that Shashikala Siriwardene both announced their retirement from international cricket. So first of all, let me know what your impressions and thoughts about the both of them were. So Nooshin.
See, one thing I would say that both of them have been great ambassadors of cricket. Uh, I think both of them have made debuts for a country where, like, we were lucky enough that India, Australia were like well-known countries in cricket. But when they started off, the teams were just coming up with cricket. So for them to, see both sides where the team was nothing, to seeing them do well at international level, as a player, as captains, it's been a long journey. And I remember that, when I was playing in Pakistan, Asia Cup, which was a regular thing. First, it was only Sri Lanka and India playing the Asia Cup because Pakistan wasn't the team then. And Shashikala would be a person who used to come and open batting. She was a good all-rounder and also bowl well. So she has seen the journey of Sri Lankan cricket coming up. And similarly, I think Sana Mir, when I saw her as a very young kid, I would have never imagined that she would go on to lead Pakistan with the kind of player she was. But we're glad that we have two off spinners who have set an example and played like international cricket over 50 years and have done really well. So, and as Lisa said, they've both been captains. So I think that was a wonderful journey for both of them.
One thing that when I've seen them lately, obviously commentating a number of their matches, and then obviously playing against them, they're two fierce competitors. They love to scrap a win and try and get their team out of. And let's face it, when they were playing Australia, they were always under the pump. But certainly, as an Australian team, when you do your analysis of the opposition, both of them are one of your top bowlers that you go, right, how are we going to cope with her? How are we going to score runs? How are we not going to lose our wickets? Yes, like Nooshin said, great ambassadors, and they will continue to be ambassadors for the game in those respective countries. But what I enjoyed the most was, people say spin bowlers aren't too fiery. It's all the fast bowlers. Well, I think if you saw Noosh and I when we played against each other, it was on for young and old, and the same thing with both of those players. So I'm glad to see that there's kind of a little group of us that just love. Give me the ball, I'll get you a wicket, Skip. I'll change the game for the benefit of our team, and they were able to do that consistently for over a decade.
I like how you mentioned about Sana Mir as well as Shashikala being key players in the opposition. Yet for players of the opposite team, it was tough to not give them wickets. And their 200 plus wickets in international cricket speaks a lot. So what is it that they had that despite you knowing that they are a threat, you couldn't actually avoid giving them wickets?
I think, rightly what Lisa said was the fire. See, when you see a transformed team, they have been playing for a side which was nothing. So obviously, see, any player who wants their team to do well, they have seen that phase, that change, where people would say that, is Sri Lanka a team or a Pakistan team? I'm talking about the women. From there to see them beat big sides, it's been a journey. Okay, and they have led the side. And as captains, if you don't have the fire in you, then how will you produce the winning thing among the other players? And I always thought that Sana was a much more calmer player for the early days when I saw her. But then when she took up the captaincy, she was a different player, completely a different player. And I feel that Shashikala was a little more sober, but then she was more like, a calmer person getting her way done. So they have been two different players with two different, mindset, yet successful. So now what cricket is, Pakistan cricket or Sri Lankan cricket, these two names are the first names which actually come up. So I think they have got that thing in the players to believe that they could beat, like Sri Lanka beat England. There was where I think Pakistan has beaten India in a World Cup, where in 2013 we didn't qualify. So there's been a lot of ups and downs, but yet they believe, these people have created that belief in the players that they could beat sides.
Just on that reason, the question that you asked, reasons why they still perform well and picked up wickets. Something that's probably evident in the conversation between Noosh and I is that as off spinners, you have to be consistent with your line and length, and they were that. But then obviously being captain, you bring yourself on in certain situations, you keep applying the pressure. Well, the pressure gets to the best of anyone, and that's how they picked up wickets. They were very canny with their skill, their art form of spin bowling, but also as a leader, as a captain, they strategically knew where to put fielders, how to build up pressure. So as a batter out in the middle facing them, you're like, where am I scoring runs? How am I getting the scoreboard going in the right direction? I don't want to be out here with a strike rate of 50. I need to get going. And they applied that much pressure. And that's why they were successful.
So before we close, it's been about bowling. Let me end by bringing the batting into the picture. Lisa, you were sort of an all-rounder, but Nooshin, you were a specialist off spinner. So as a bowler, as an off spinner, is there somewhere at the back of your mind or somewhere that you have to excel as a batter as well? Was this is this a mindset? Does that add to the pressure of performing well?
No. I don't think so. Let me be on the lighter side. Apparently, I was a good all-rounder for Karnataka. Stop laughing, Lisa. I'm seriously telling you, you can ask Shanta on this.
Okay, I'll send her a message.
No, I think you should. But then when I got into Indian Railways, it just piled up. You had Jaya, you had Sulakshana Nayak, you had Mithali Raj, Rumeli Dhar, Hemlata Kala. Where is the batting? I mean, all of them were like top order for India and middle order. So then I probably accepted, saying that, listen, just concentrate on bowling. Okay, because your entire domestic, I saw myself batting in domestic. It was the only time we could get in the nets. So, yes, but I never regret it because I was good. Like, I believe that, as an off spinner, yes, it gives you that advantage because when I used to watch Lisa, I thought first she was a better batsman. And then I think she actually turned out to be a very good bowler. I always felt that she was a fabulous batsman. Do you agree to that, Lisa? You started off as an actor.
Well, if you were to ask me after a game of cricket, how do I rate my performance? And if I got 40 runs and I got 3 wickets, I'd probably still be disappointed because I didn't turn the 40 into a 50 plus. So growing up, I opened the batting and I bowled because I didn't want to be bored. I wanted to be in the game. I always wanted to be contributing. So that's how I kind of ensured I was doing something. I'd field at mid-wicket or cover. So again, in the hot spots in the game. So whilst bowling allowed me to get into the New South Wales Open side and the Australian Open side, batting was still where I kind of based my performance. So, people say, do you have regrets in your career? I'd probably say my regret was that I didn't score as many runs as I should have. But then having to juggle two skills when we're not professional and we've got full-time jobs and we're trying to do everything, it gets a bit tough. But certainly, my bowling record was good. And I realised that it was a purpose, a bit like you, Nooshin, changed from medium pace to off spin because the team needed it. So whatever you want, coach, I'll do to get into the team.
True.
And then you'll kind of, and then you'll find your way of how you can play a role within that side. And for me, you know, it ebbed and flowed for me because I was an all-rounder, and by the end of my career I was batting, my spot was, you know, number 4. So yeah, you know, I think I felt being an all-rounder took a bit of pressure off one of the skill set, because if you had a bad day, you still could contribute. Whereas for Noosh, as she said, you know, that was her one job. So it can be a tough game, cricket, and you don't have that many great days. So it certainly would have put probably more pressure on me if I just had the one skill set.
I remember like in 2004 when Lisa had visited Australia, had visited India, and it was in December, and the batter Lisa was, and then we had the World Cup in March. It was a complete difference. I probably had never got this opportunity to share it with you, but then you were more into sweeping the ball when you had come to India, if I'm not wrong.
Correct.
And when I saw her in the World Cup, and when she played that cover drive, I was shocked. So it's like in 3 months, she had improved her skill to what it was, because what I had seen Lisa in December and what I saw her in World Cup were completely two different players. And that's how I started off, that you need to improve in what it is. And it's important. As a player, I don't think we need to have the word content. Don't be content. We need to keep improving. And the people who have been successful have been working on their skills. It's important that you keep, improving. But most importantly is, do not forget from where you have started, because that's what has given you success. You have come into the squad, Indian squad or Australian squad, because you were good enough in something. So you need to have that as your strength and add on more strengths. People sometimes, players, like, they try too many things, but your success was what you were earlier. You need to be sticking onto that and adding more.
Right. Lastly, each of you, do you have any fond memories of either playing with or against Sana Mir, Shashikala, Nooshin, Lisa?
See, I've seen only Shashikala. Probably in 2005 World Cup, she was okay, but then the Asia Cup, she got a lot of runs. I remember she got a 75 against, if I'm not wrong, in Pakistan, that we played the Asia Cup, and it was just a brilliant innings of hers, where I did not expect a Sri Lankan to get, and plus she got about 3 wickets in that game. Although we won the Asia Cup, but then she stood out. And what little I've been watching her, Shashikala has been a good friend of mine. Like we are connected. And Sana Mir was young. I think I haven't interacted much with her. I don't remember. I've just watched her as a youngster play. But then, as I said, she has been like, you keep watching these small things where people do well and you appreciate. She's one of the persons I've seen. Not interacted much with her, but love the way she has progressed.
I think for me, we only played against those set teams in World Cups. So I never got to play a lot of cricket against them. And obviously 2005, 2013, and then 2009 and 10, and maybe 12 I would have played. So that's what, 5 games, not even 5 games, because they're always in different pools. Whereas I played a lot more cricket against Noosh, and we had plenty of battles. I am pleased to say one of my fond memories are that I am her 100th ODI wicket. And, so while she was celebrating, a little part of me was happy that she had gotten her 100th wicket, because she had been in and out of the Indian side and kind of brought back for that series, almost kind of, let's give you your 100th wicket and then off you go, basically. Is that right, Noosh?
I don't think so. You've been a very good competitor, I'm telling you. Although we've been very good friends, but it was always a delight, because once we were off the ground, we used to talk like, it was, I don't know, we never felt that we've been good friends. So
Yeah.
she's always a good friend of mine. And I've always enjoyed seeing her progress to what she was. And as you said, that little part within you always would want you to do well. It has always been, as a player and as a friend, I would always want you to do well.
Yeah, thank you. But I think also I was fortunate enough to see Shashikala's last match here in Australia, and I think, what was her figures? 5. I think she's 5 or 6 for. I can't remember now. But
Four.
Was it 4? Okay, I'll give it 6 because we're off spinners. We just add a few more. But for her, after such a wonderful career, in her last match to play an important role, and the tears, the absolute tears from her teammates when the end of the match happened. Oh, it was heartbreaking because all of them have grown up probably watching her, aspiring to be her. Then they get to be a teammate of her, and now they go, "Oh, what is Sri Lanka going to be without her? I don't know how I'm going to cope." So, and probably the same thing with Sana Mir, even though she's been in and out of the sides in the different formats. Both sides will have to kind of have a different identity without them, and they will, and they'll progress and they'll learn from what those two players have been able to give them. But they've been wonderful servants of the game.
Right. So, Lisa, thank you. Nooshin, thank you for your time. It was fun chatting off spin, Sana Mir and Shashikala Siriwardene, and of course your fondness and battles against one another. So thanks for sparing time.
Thank you.
No worries. Anytime.